in San Antonio. Hey, Ruth, what's going on?
Oh, well, I'm a big Dave Ramsey person, and I have your book and listened to it a couple of times. Recently, back in January, I've been taking care of my mother who had dementia for 2.5 years. Unfortunately, she developed COVID and passed away in January.
I'm sorry.
And I'm trying not to get upset.
No, you're good.
I'm the executor of the estate, and I have two siblings that are making it very hard for me. They're, you should have done this, you should have done that. And recently, they're accusing me of stealing money from my mother. And I'm not really sure how to handle it. And, I've requested bank statements so I can go back and say, oh, look, here's where this money is, here's where this money is. And it's kind of funny because for 2.5 years, they said nothing. No one ever came to see her. It was up to me to take her to see them. And now it's, And so that's kind of my terrible story.
Oh,
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. So, Ruth, a couple of things here. Number one, I'm so sorry about the loss of your mom. Have you had a chance to exhale and sit in that?
I have good days and bad days, and yesterday was a bad day because I had to hang up on her because she was telling me that she hoped I could live with myself and that God could forgive me.
Sure.
Pray for God to forgive me for what I've done to the family. And I'm like, I took care of my mother.
That's right.
So bad.
So, listen, you are not solving a math problem here. This is not a forensic issue. I'm going to give your brother and sister the benefit of the doubt and say that I'm going to assume they are struggling with guilt over not being there for mom, that they are heartbroken that their mom's gone, that every time they see something on TV about another COVID death or another 1,000 COVID deaths, or that brings up mom, and they are choosing, unfortunately, to channel that guilt and anger and sadness and heartbreak at you. Do you deserve that? No. And again, I'm giving them the high benefit of the doubt. The low benefit of the doubt is they're jerks and they're complete scumbags, and they went and had a drink one night together and thought, hey, man, let's get our hands on some of mom's money. I don't want to go there. But you can go get bank statements and do forensic accounting and all that kind of stuff. I wouldn't spend my energy on that unless they sue you. What you're trying to do is prove yourself to you, and you don't need to do that. Often when people are taking care of folks who have dementia, you watch the most important person in your life slowly slip away. And it's really painful because it's like a slow motion accident and it just slips through your fingers. And it's almost a slow motion trauma, right? And it weighs on your personal relationships, your finances, your time, and you live in fight or flight for a couple of years. And then you finally wake up and you realize your identity is different. You don't know where you are, what I should be doing, because I've been having to keep somebody else alive and okay for the last couple of years. And that's why I ask you, have you sat in it? Not in your brother and sister situation, but in, I lost my mom. And it's heartbreaking. And then the two people that you would hope would rally around you are not. They're forming an alliance against you, and you find yourself totally alone. And
it's really sad because there's no gratitude at all.
I know, but listen. You're using your grief and your sadness, and you are looking for people to channel that on. What I'm going to ask you to do is to forgive your brother and sister, stop responding to them, and move on. Your mom chose you for a reason. It may be just what we're seeing right now, why she chose you. Because she knew they were immature, and they were not people of integrity, and so she chose you to handle the estate. Have you done right by that estate?
Yes.
Have you ever stolen a dime?
No.
Did you honor your mother in her last few years?
Yes.
Then I want you to go to sleep with peace in your heart. Your brother and sister no longer get a vote, and that's hard to say. They no longer get a vote. And I want you to forgive them and stop taking those calls. Stop taking the abuse. Stop giving yourself other jobs in order to make people who are not well and who are taking crap out on you to try to make them happy, because you're not. It's throwing water into an endless well. You'll never fill it up. You did right, Ruth, and now it's time to grieve your mom and then come up with the next chapter of Ruth's life. which unfortunately is not going to include your brother and sister for the time being, right?
Yeah, Ruth, I have to tell you, I have unfortunately had a front row seat to watch this happen to different families that I know. And this exact process, losing a parent, the executor of the will, the siblings involved, can bring out the absolute worst in some people. And people that you thought were so close before that happened are no longer close. And it is a sad thing to watch. It's a sad thing to experience. But the one thing I would offer as an encouragement, piggybacking on what John said, which is so true, is their behavior says something about them, not about you. You know what you have done and not done. You were chosen for this. You have not stolen money, just like you just said. You have done right by her, and you're going to stand on that, and you're not going to let any of their emails, their texts, their calls, their accusations, their hateful words that they are spewing at you. You're going to stand on the truth of who you are and what you know and what you have done. And just like John said, let that give you peace tonight, because the way that they're acting says something about them. It's not a reflection of you.
This is hard, Ruth.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it is. And I've been taking your advice. I'm exercising again. I've even signed up for a half marathon. And
Atta girl,
Look
Ruth.
at you, Ruth. That's awesome.
And I discovered this Grace for Purpose on YouTube, and I listen to that a bunch, and I'm trying to get back to that point, and it's helped a lot. But then when someone throws a new thing at you, you go, okay. So I ate some cookies today.
There you
Hey,
go.
you know what? It's
We all need some cookies every now and then.
That's exactly right. Ruth, grieving the loss of our parents is hard. It's hard. It's not easy. The path is hard, and it's especially hard when people we love throw rocks at us along the way. And it shouldn't be that way, and unfortunately it is. And it's time to grieve that loss, and your brother and sister, unfortunately, and they no longer get a vote. I'm proud of you. Oh, I'm so proud of you for stepping up and doing the what I call the basics, right? Taking care of your body and your mind, and you're entertaining optimistic choices about I'm gonna discover a new purpose, right? That's so great. And here's we only have a few minutes left, so I won't just get on a soapbox.
Okay.
But if you are struggling in grief, if you lost someone that you care about, which there have been a lot of loss in the last 24 months, if you're feeling shame or guilt over what you didn't say or did say or what I didn't do or how, don't take that on somebody else. Don't weaponize your grief and hurt somebody else because you're hurting.
Yeah.
Have the courage to say, I'm sad and hurting.
How could you help someone identify that they're doing that?
Anytime somebody's...
I'm thinking most people probably don't realize they're doing it,
Yeah.
or are intentionally doing it.
When you find yourself enraged or angry at somebody that you should otherwise love, that's a moment for you to step back and take a breath and ask this question. I got this from my good friend Jordan Bunch. He worked for me once, and I asked him once, just as his supervisor, how are you always so moving through the world so lightly? And he said, every time I have a problem, I first look in the mirror and say, Jordan, what did you contribute to this?
Ooh.
And so I have taken that with me forever. And sometimes I overdo it and I take on too much.
Sure.
But as somebody who is prone to blame and prone to point fingers, it's been an extraordinary exercise for the last 10 or 15 years to look in the mirror and say, what am I contributing to this?
That's
so
good.
if you are leaning up against your brother or your sister and mom just died and you are enraged at why didn't they, you should have, look in the mirror and say, is it me that's hurting here? And does it really matter?
Yeah.
Because I miss my sister, right?
Yeah.